China, the world's most populous nation. The rapid and radical change that 1.3 billion people have endured over the past quarter century is without precedence in the history of civilization. It is a country now beginning to realize its enormous potential and promise, economically and also socially. But at the same time, it's also a country where hundreds of thousands of babies and children are abandoned each year, in part because support services for families of children with special needs are minimal and often unaffordable, in part because of a fear and misunderstanding around physical and intellectual disabilities, in part because in a land where one family is permitted to give birth to just one child, parents need a child capable of providing for them in their old age. And so, often out of desperation, they resort to abandonment. And as a result, the orphanages that accept these children are overpopulated, underfunded, and understaffed. International China Concern is an organization dedicated to helping China care for its ever-growing numbers of abandoned and disabled.
We've had an opportunity to care for children who have really been left with no hope, and to be part of the process of helping rebirth hope within them, helping them to realize that even though they have a disability, something that in China normally would have meant they wouldn't have had a future, they actually now have a future.
Our team of dedicated Christian volunteers from around the world support and train more than 170 Chinese employees who care for more than 230 children. Our goal is for every child to live in a healthy, loving environment appropriate to their particular needs. We call them homes for life.
And that's been an incredible change, to see children and young adults who previously have only ever known life on a welfare centre begin to move into homes, small group homes in the community, where they are able to interact with their neighbours, where they're able to shop for their own food. And that's so important, to give them that sense of self-respect and dignity through being able to live an independent life.
In Changsha, over 80 children and young adults have moved to a community-based family environment with house parents. Another 20 with more profound disabilities live in a care facility with 24-hour medical support. Others still now live with loving foster parents through a foster care program established by ICC. All children under ICC's care have access to medical support, therapy, special education, and vocational training. Because of ICC's success in Changsha, an invitation was extended by the government to send a team of volunteers to the city of Hangyang in Hunan province to begin work in the local welfare center.
The first step that was taken, I guess, was to really just assess this place. There was children that were completely unresponsive, unable to give eye contact. There were children that were sitting on potty chairs, that had very little clothing and very little dignity, and children who were intellectually normal that had no ability even to speak because they had nobody to speak to, really. It's a good exercise for us to look back and see that now all of the children have adequate numbers of caregivers. All of the children have arms to hold them. When children pass away, they have arms to hold them. All of the children are receiving care, and that's a big difference.
While International China Concern has seen hundreds of lives transformed in both Hangyang and Changsha, the larger and more troubling issue of abandonment remains.
In this centre, about 7 to 8 children per month are abandoned with physical disabilities or medical problems. And the reason for their abandonment is usually that their parents just don't have the means to care for them. Their economic situations don't allow for them.
For ICC, as we look to the future, what we hope to be able to do is to create multidisciplinary teams who can liaise with hospitals in the major cities and can be made aware when a family is giving birth to a child that has a disability. If we can get alongside that family at the earliest possible point, then what we can do is provide the kind of care and support that hopefully will ensure that the child will stay within the family unit and not be abandoned.
Young Hung-Shi was a little girl that was very premature and needed specialist care, and her father, not having the money to pay a hospital bill, was given his child back, and he didn't know what to do, and he threw her by the river at 1 a.m. in the morning, and somebody running past the river the next morning discovered this child naked, and we bundled her into Alison's jacket and we called an ambulance and took her straight to the hospital. We met with her maternal grandmother and her mother's sister, and we asked them, do you want your child back? Do you want this child? And they most sincerely did. So we helped this family, we helped them pay the fees that they couldn't pay for her medical care. A month or so later, the child was discharged from hospital, perfectly healthy and well. She's now a year old, growing up with her family in the countryside.
International China Concern's reputation and relationships in China place us in a unique position to not only provide care and services for disabled and abandoned children, but also to empower and train Chinese nationals to see countless lives saved, families supported, attitudes changed, and communities transformed. Our work has only just begun. We need your help, your prayers, your support, as we seek to offer love, hope, and opportunity for every disabled child.